and welcome to Victim to Victory podcast series. This series gives a voice to those that have overcome obstacles in all forms, that dare greatly to share their real stories. Amazing humans that have seen hope and risen above those adversities to become victorious, that now support and inspire others to do the same. And today we've got Martha Mock. Welcome to the Victim to Victory podcast series.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Now, I just want to let you know a little bit about Martha, and I want her to tell you her story because it's quite inspiring, and I think you'll really be able to connect with this. Now, Martha is guides women who may have had similar experiences as she did. Now, being in an abusive marriage, bullied at school since a young age, sexually abused by someone she trusted, and she finds herself again by not letting her past hold her back, and she's empowering other people to do that as well, so she can create super confident women within our community. And she's known as a super confidence coach, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, multi-award winning international makeup artist and hairstylist and author. So she is super busy. And I really know that you'll be able to serve our audience today, Martha, with what you can bring. And just where does your journey start? Where does your story start?
I actually started my coaching business about 10 months ago, back in June. I was an international makeup artist and I run multiple businesses. And even during the time of my abusive marriage, the one thing that I know I have was confidence. I was very confident at work. I was on stage, I'm a competition judge. So that side of the thing does not trouble me. What troubled me was that no one actually knows what's going on behind the door. Behind my shiny mask, no one actually heard my story. So when I actually got encouraged by my current partner to step into the coaching role, and I learned to be vulnerable for the first time, and I learned to be confident that understanding that vulnerability takes twice the courage to do. So that's when I started to speak up. And when I started to speak up, I realized that people actually support you instead of when I was thinking like I was a failure in my network. There's no one out there was like me. This darkness that I'm in is forever. Even that I was very driven to actually find my goal again, to find my love again. Still, there's something inside of me that I don't want other people to know. I don't want to call myself a victim, but I was a victim of my own belief. That I believe I wasn't good enough, that I believe that I wasn't anyone that was special. Not until I stepped into the coaching world, I realized that we are all special. We all have that special power within us that we can share, we can love, and we can give as well. And that's how I started my journey into life coaching. And I've been very, very blessed with my business that I didn't know that I have so much business knowledge in my life. And I completely forgot that I pretty much started to run my own business since the age of 26, and I'm 43 this year. So with that amount of running different businesses, of course, failures as well, it helps me to develop a very good business sense. So now I decided to actually do business coaching as well for new coaches and business owners to help with their business strategies.
Yeah. So you've lived a lifetime already going through all of those experiences. Now, I really love that you touched on the power of strength through vulnerability, because I think we're socially conditioned where when we grow up, it's kind of conditioned into us that if you see somebody crying or saying that they need help, that's seen as a weakness. So I'm so glad that you actually touched on vulnerability, and vulnerability is the greatest strength that any person can actually have, to put your hand up and say, I need help, or I'm not coping, or just to let them know who you really are at your core, in your heart. Just say, this is my story, this is who I am. And to tell that story, that takes so much strength and courage. So thank you for sharing that. Now, Martha, I just want to backpedal, if that's okay with you, a little bit.
Oh,
Now, you've always said that you've been confident, but, were there any stages of your life going through, the abusive marriage and the sexual abuse as a child? What elements of that transferred over into your adult life that maybe held you back at some stages, or was it a fire that fueled you forward?
yeah, that you're actually completely right. People who've been through what I've been through can very easily turn into the dark side and staying in the victim mode that they choose to be. But instead of doing that, I actually have a goal, even from a very young age, that I do not want any other people, woman or man, doesn't matter, but especially on women, that they do not need to keep in silence and they don't have to suffer what I've been through. So I continue to be the light. I continue to be kind. I continue to be generous. Doesn't matter what treatments I was getting. Like even back in the days that I was told that I was worthless every single day by my ex-husband, where I was the one that who was the breadwinner and actually paying all the bills, and he just need to sit there. And you still get that sort of treatment. And at one stage, I just blocked it out. And that's why I was in the marriage for 19 years, because I felt like that I wasn't good enough and I was overweight. I didn't know how to cook well. I don't really clean the house well. And it's like, I'm not the wife material. And I feel like that because of my lacking, I sort of absorb all the abuse and all the lacking that he was presenting. And I think it's also the fear of being alone as well. That is a real fear in us that we human are not made to be alone. And I was at that time that I was too scared, too afraid to be who I am. So not until my 40th birthday, that was the day that I actually decided, you know what? I was so unhappy at that moment that I only want to live to 60. That was enough for me for a lifetime. So I decided to know, what do I want in the 20 years that I have left? And that's when I have the courage to step out of my marriage and starting to find my new life again. And when you're first trying stuff, life is never easy. Yes, I did bump into some not very good men in the process there. Not until about a year and a half, almost 2 years later, I find my current partner where he's absolutely everything that I asked for. And it's about not giving up the dream and not turning into darkness, and stay in your lane of belief that, you know what, I deserve happiness. I deserve this. I matter and I'm important too. So that's how I really got out and stay light, not dark.
That's some great nuggets that you've kind of dropped there, Martha, because I think it's quite easy to go to that dark place. It's quite a trauma. When we've had a trauma, it's quite safe to sit in that dark space, and it's quite safe to let people's words keep you down.
Mm,
But I've heard so many stories, and I'm so glad that you touched on it, where they knew they were meant for more. Even though
mm,
people around them were telling them they weren't worthy, then
mm,
they knew inside that they were meant for more.
mm.
What kind of things would you say really, really hit home for you to keep on track and to keep that dream alive? What kind of things were you thinking, or at your lowest points, that actually really kept you going?
I went for a stage that when one of my after my marriage, I met a guy that I thought he was my knight in shining armor, but it did not happen. So when he left, I felt like that I lost my light, my smile, and my hope. I lost the one thing that was the most valuable to me, which was my smile. And I went through trauma therapy, which was when people hear, like, really? Like you go to trauma therapy? I'm like, why not? Because if I needed help, go and ask for help. I have been in silence for so long. Isn't it my time to actually get some help? I have helped so many people to feel amazing about themselves. Being in the wedding industry, going for wedding for so many years, isn't it my time to get that smile? And that's what it got me into trauma therapy. And after the trauma therapy, it was my therapist that who encouraged me to go down this path of coaching and consulting.
That's a wonderful journey that you've been through. And
Yeah.
as a journey of self-discovery, what are the things that you discovered yourself that maybe even took you by surprise?
That I was actually in control of my own life, that I am quite proud of my own achievement, despite that everyone been like, not everyone, but my ex-husband tell me that I'm worthless. I discovered that I am stronger than what anyone else could believe that I can be through. And being vulnerable, definitely, that was the one key learning. Being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength.
I think that is absolutely wonderful. Now, in your coaching space, you obviously connect with a whole lot of women who are maybe lacking a bit of confidence. They're trying to find themselves. They're reinventing themselves. What advice would you give to women who are kind of in similar situations?
I would say to reach out if you are not happy in your relationship, in your life, if you're starting to have dark thoughts, believe me when I say you are not alone. There's a lot of us out there, and all we have to do is ask. We don't have to do more than that, and people will actually come to you and give you help. And that's what I did. And I'm not a very spiritual person, but I do believe in the universe. And at that time, when I was in my absolute lowest, I met a friend and he was going to trauma therapy. And I got a chance of going into this wonderful, amazing lady that she was like, starting her journey as well. So I got it in at a very good price because I was quite poor back in that day, like got out of everything. And it's like, wow, like, the universe even look after you, giving you this path, giving you this way. There's always signs everywhere, and if you see a sign, you only need that little bit of courage to take that step. Just ask, and when you ask, things will come to you. If people do meditation, if people do manifesting, just think about the happy life that you can actually have. It was something that I didn't even dare to dream, that I could have a happy life like this. I didn't think that I deserved it at that time. But not until I went through trauma therapy and did a lot of self-development, then I realized that, you know what, everyone deserves happiness. That's including me and you and all our audience out there right now. You deserve happiness.
That's great. And as part of your self-discovery with personal development, what would you say stood out the most to you that really dared you to dream bigger?
NLP is one of the big thing I have to say. It completely changed my mind about how people think, because in my journey, I'm very lucky that I have a few amazing mentor in my life. So I was already very like in my white link when I started the business. But when I took NLP, it took me to another level, and it allowed me to understand the brain, how the brain work, how our thinking work, and how our belief is. We all have belief, and I always use this example as like you and I believe that we all like ice cream. But the reason we like the ice cream is different. So our belief is only true to us. It doesn't, it's not the same for everyone else. So when we believe that the outside world is targeting us, your boss maybe actually like, really don't like you, and they pointed to you, but that actually is our own belief. It's not true. It's not real. We can make it real by doing things towards it, but it's only something that is in our hand and our control.
Oh, definitely. And for those of our audience, NLP is neuro linguistic programming. And it's kind of it's a neurological science.
Mm.
It's reprogramming, it's breaking old belief habits, and you can connect with Martha to know more about that as well. And what kind of message would you like to leave our audience on today? Because your journey is really inspirational. It's really empowering. You're helping so many women out into the community. You've been from, such an abusive background, but to always know that you're meant for more and going on to help people within our community. What kind of message would you like to share with our audience today?
I feel like that I want to let all the women out there know that work is only one part of your life. I used to use work to make myself happy, to make myself feel like that I'm worthy, and I achieved a lot of success in it. However, inside of me, there was emptiness. That the sorrow and the loneliness and the sadness is not something that will make you smile at night. It will bring you tears at night. So ask yourself, what do you truly want in life? I had a reading yesterday with a beautiful tarot card lady, and she said that you're very different. You come to me only looking for joy and happiness. I said, yes, because I realized that nothing in life matter anymore. My happiness and joy was the most important. So for all of you ladies and gentlemen out there who are listening to this, remember the only thing that matter is your joy and happiness. And when you are joyful and happy, the people around you will benefit a lot more.
Oh, definitely. It is such a ripple effect. I mean, smile and the whole world smiles, right? If you want to change
Exactly.
someone's day, you simply just smile at them. I love that message, Martha. I truly, truly love that message. Thank you very much for being brave to share your story and how you're impacting so many people within our communities. We'll be sharing where to connect with you as well. So you are so appreciated. And you can find the Victim to Victory podcast series on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and our Facebook group as well. So please subscribe, share, and comment to help be the change that the world needs. And let me leave you with a message. Thank you, Martha, for being our guest today. Step into your story, figure out who you are, and do it on purpose. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you.